Ah. What's going on? 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 Peace and blessings to you, my brothers. Peace and blessings to you, my brothers. This is a bit unusual for me because it's daytime. I normally go live in the evening times. I normally go live after 6 p.m. This is atypical. Quite cool. Asasi, what's happening? I see you. I normally go live in the evening times, but the year is over, brothers. The year is over. 2021 is basically over. 2021 is basically over, my guys. I'm not going to show my face tonight, man. I'm not going to show my face, excuse me, this afternoon. I'm glad to see you guys in the chat. I got a lot of stuff that's on my mind, guys. I got a lot on my mind. I got a lot of ish on my mind. I'm not going to use profanity. I'm just going to say I have a lot of ish on my mind as we end the year of 2021 and enter into 2022. And I'm calling this stream Random Smoke. Random smoke. This is just random smoke, guys. Woo! What's up? What's up? I see you. I see you, Hybrid Ninja Perspective. I see you, Afro Shop. I see you, Christopher Clipper. I see you, Andre the Machine. I see you, Jarvis Thrasher 22. I see you guys. I see you. If you guys can hear me, just put one in the chat. Let me know that you can hear me. Put one in the chat. Let me know that you can hear me. We are all the way live. Woo! Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, brothers. This is for those who are new to this channel, to those who are new to this channel, this is a BMI, this is a BMA, this is a BME, and this is a BMH broadcast. And if you don't know what those acronyms stand for, BMI stands for Black Men's Independence. BMA stands for Black Men's Agency. BME stands for Black Men's Empowerment. And BMH stands for Black Men's Happiness. I see you, brothers. I see you. 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 Oh, we're here, guys. It is Thursday, December the 30th, 2021. Thursday, December 30th, 2021. My clock says it's 2:35 Eastern Standard Time. And guys, I just want to talk to you, man. This is just a stream of consciousness, I thought about doing singular videos. I thought about doing, 10-minute videos, 12-minute videos, 16-minute videos to get, these thoughts, some of these thoughts out there. But I just decided rather, because there's just so much that I need to say at one particular time, that I'm just going to go ahead and come on and go live, man, and talk about what is happening, man. There's a lot that's happened in the last month. There's a lot that's happening in the Black manosphere, things that people are talking about that are very, very important as far as where we are going in the Black manosphere. And I'm going to use this stream to cover as many of those things as I possibly can. Thank you, brothers. Thank you, brothers. I'm glad you can hear me. I see you all well, man. I see you all here. Please like, please share, please subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. If you find any value in this stream, you know what time it is. You know, we have the cash apps. You like this stream, the content. You got the super chats, you got the super sticker, you got PayPal, you have all those things. But listen, guys, I'm going to throw some ideas out here, out into the universe as we go forward. I'm going to throw some names out here, some ideas that I'm going to tackle in this live stream. I might not get to all of them, but I'm just going to put them out there as we go forward, guys. And before I do that, I just want to say, you know, I'm going to do this in advance. I want to wish all of you guys a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful New Year's. I want to say to you guys that it's important that if you had a wonderful 2021, to do everything within your power to make 2022 a much better year. And I want to say to you guys, if 2021 was not the best year in recent years in your life, do everything within your power to make the year 2022 a much better year than 2021. Brothers, recently a major feminist figure passed away. A major figure in feminism by the name of Bell Hooks died. She died at the age of 69. And Bell Hooks is very, very important because she belongs to an era of feminism that is responsible for why we are right here in this thing called the Black Manosphere, talking about the things that we do. And I'm going to say some things about her and her work and our work in responding to her and her entire generation. So Bell Hooks is one of the people that I want to talk about in this stream. Next to Bell Hooks, I want to talk about Dr. Dre, guys. I want to talk about Dr. Dre. As you all are aware, Dr. Dre has already settled. He has already finished his divorce from his wife, Nicole. Dr. Dre, according to the press and the internet chatter and the information that we know, is worth over $800 million. He settled with his wife. There was a divorce settlement for over $100 million, which she would walk away with from the divorce. From what we understand, Dr. Dre, who had put a prenup in place, had his prenup defended, and his prenup was able to stand in a court of law. And Dr. Dre's divorce was a win, not only for Dr. Dre, but it was also a win for those of us who are very serious about thinking about protecting our assets, thinking about protecting our futures if we decide to go down the road of marriage. And you guys know from my YouTube channel and what I've said to you that marriage is something that brothers need to be suspicious of. Marriage is something that brothers need to place under a microscope. So Dr. Dre is somebody that I want to touch upon in this live stream. The other person that I want to talk about and touch upon in this live stream is David Carroll. David Carroll passed away last week. David Carroll, the Black Juggernaut. David Carroll, the YouTuber. David Carroll, who stood firm on strong convictions for close to a decade, putting out a message to Black men about Black men's relationship to the United States and Black men's relationship to Afro-American women. And Carroll's effort, as I'm going to say it, he was a Black pillar. David Carroll was a Black pillar. his effort to help Black men to be serious and real about what they're dealing with in the United States. So I do want to say something about David Carroll as I go forward. The other thing I want to talk about, my guys, is the failed Democratic Party. The failed Democratic Party. That is the failed Democratic Party under the leadership of Joe Biden. Joe Biden has been in office close to 1 year. Next month will make a year since he was inaugurated, since he took the oath of office. And in his 1 year, he has been a colossal failure. Failure. He and his vice president, Kamala Harris, they have demonstrated in 1 year of office why we who promote Black men's independence were right. We were 100% correct back during the 2020 election. We were correct in our assessment of Biden and Harris. We were correct. We knew that they would not offer any type of leadership that would be better than the leadership of Donald Trump. So we have to talk about that. And the last thing that I want to touch upon, my guys, the last thing that I want to touch upon in this stream, and again, I'm going to do my best to get to all of these issues, these matters, and that is the matter of women in Black men's spaces. Women in Black men's spaces. Women who have created channels, women who have taken the talking points of Black men, of the Black manosphere, and who have built platforms, women who call themselves supporters, people who affirm Black men's interests. We have to talk about that and what it means to have these women in our spaces, and talk about whether this is a good thing or this is something that is harmful to the Black manosphere as we go forward. So guys, here we are, guys. Here we are. And I'm glad to see you all here. I see Brandon Movement in the house. I see Mr. GG. I see you, brother. What's going on? Good to see you, my guy. Good to see you, my guy. I'm glad that you guys are in the chat this afternoon. Let's just get right into it, guys. I want to get right into it. Brothers, you all know that, I work in the world of academia, and I've been in academia for the bulk of my adult life, guys. For the bulk of my adult life, first as a student, as a undergraduate student, then as a graduate student, from a bachelor's degree to a PhD, and then I made my transition from being a graduate student to being a full-time professor. I have been a full-time professor for close to 20 years, okay? And I live in a world. I live in a world that is inundated with feminism, white feminism in general, and Black feminism in particular. And I am someone who is intimately, guys, I am intimately acquainted with the work of Bell Hooks. Bell Hooks recently died. She died less than 2 weeks ago at the age of 69. She died as a Black woman who never married. She did not have any children. She was a very, very prolific writer. She was a strong voice in the feminist movement, someone who wrote lots of books, whose books are taught all over the world. She is taught all over the world. What's up? What's up, brothers? I see you in the house. And I have to tell you guys, when I came along as an undergraduate student in the 1990s, she was already an icon. She was an icon among feminists, among intellectuals, and many of us who were in college and in graduate school during that decade, we had to contend with her writings, and we had to contend with her influence. She was a woman who was very loud. She was outspoken She was a smart woman, and she was a person who had a very strong point of view, especially when it came down to Black men, Black women, and the overall Black community. As I'm talking to you, brothers, as I'm talking to you right now, I have a book that's in front of me called We Real Cool. It's called We Real Cool, Black Men and Masculinity. This book was published back in 2004 by Bell Hooks. And Bell Hooks, she wrote a book. I want y'all to get this, guys. Bell Hooks wrote a book that was intended to create a paradigm. It was intended to create what Tommy Curry put forward in 2017, which we know today as Black Male Studies. That is, she wrote a book as a feminist that was intended to create a dialogue, a conversation around what people have called Black masculinity. And in that book, We Real Cool, Bell Hooks writes about Black men as fathers. She writes about Black men as intimate partners. She writes a book about Black men as capitalists. She writes a book about Black men as emotional beings. And in this book, We Real Cool, Bell Hooks, she writes as that auntie. I want you guys to think about your families. What's going on, brothers? I want you guys to think about your families, man. And I'm going to speak honestly and existentially about this right here, guys. So Bell Hooks, whenever I read Bell Hooks and when I read her today, I am reminded of women in my family. I am reminded in particular of my aunts. And I have one aunt in particular who has a voice, who has a cadence, who has a perspective, a point of view that is not very different from that of Bell Hooks. And what is that, my guys? I want you to think about the oldest woman in your family who at leisure, at any time, will look at you and tell you what to do with your life, how to live, how to be a man, how to be masculine. She would tell you what a man is. She would tell you what a man is not. She would look at you and she would read you up and down. And she would give you some script that you were supposed to follow in terms of manhood. That was Bell Hooks. And when Bell Hooks wrote about Black men, and these women rather, who talk like this, when Bell Hooks wrote about Black men, she wrote from the standpoint of a paternalist. She wrote from the standpoint of somebody who was condescending, somebody who looked down on Black men, somebody who saw Black men as infants, somebody who infantilized Black men, somebody who believed that Black men needed to be led primarily by, as children or like children, Black women. That was Bell Hooks. That is that black women are the mothers, Black women are the big mamas, and Black women are the ones who are supposed to lead the children. And who are the children? The children are Black American men. Her writings about Black men were very, very offensive, very, very offensive and condescending. And I want you all to keep this in mind, because later on in the stream, now guys, I'm going to come back. Later on in the stream, I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about women in the manosphere, women who come into our spaces. And I want you all to keep this in mind, because what we get oftentimes when women come into the Black manosphere, when they come into our spaces, these women come with a perspective that is not very different from someone like a Bell Hooks. That is, these women come in and they talk to us in a very condescending fashion. They think that they are better than us. They think that they are superior. They think that we are children. And they really, 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 really believe that our lives will only be enhanced to the extent that we follow their directives and their imperatives. So I want y'all to keep that in mind as we move later on into the stream and we talk about women who come into the Black manosphere, women who invade, women who occupy Black male spaces, and women who are trying to capitalize off the rise of Black male spaces on the internet. So keep that in mind. I'm gonna do that. Now, moving to the next area, the area being Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre. Listen, guys. Listen, guys. We have been watching Dr. Dre's situation unfold over the past year or so. We have watched him. We have watched everything since the moment that the public became aware that he and his wife, Nicole, were divorcing. They were going their separate ways after 24 years of marriage. And we watched a very, very contentious divorce. We watched a woman dispute. We watched a woman contest a prenuptial agreement which she had signed upon their marriage back in the 1990s when they initially became a married, or at least before they became a married couple, okay? And, of course, because we are spectators, we don't know all the details of this situation. But one thing that we do know is that Dr. Dre was highly stressed, and Dr. Dre dealt with so much pressure with that particular contest, that argument, that dispute that he had with his wife, that he was hospitalized as a consequence of having a brain aneurysm. And brothers, this is very, very important, because we talk about marriage and we talk about divorce and we talk about female-male relationships in this space. And Dr. Dre, with his divorce, confirms so much that we have been talking about here. So much in terms of how relationships have an impact on our very mental health, our very, very mental health, our psychological well-being. It almost looked, guys, it looked like at one point during this tumultuous situation that Dr. Dre was going to lose half of his fortune. It almost looked like that. It looked like, just from the outside looking in, from what we were getting from The Guardian, from TMZ, from all of the gossip blogs and all of that, even though you cannot rely upon these sources, but those are the only sources that you have, it looked like Dr. Dre was going to be devastated by this divorce. But we have just learned this week that Dr. Dre has walked away victoriously because his prenup stood. It stood up in family court, divorce court. He was able to walk away with his fortune intact. He's worth $800 million. He only has to pay her $100 million. He does not have to pay her alimony. He does not have to pay her lawyer fees. Earlier this morning, my guys, I was watching the lead attorney. I was watching the lead attorney who was doing a breakdown of Dr. Dre's divorce, and he was talking about the kind of lessons that men need to learn from Dr. Dre. And the big lesson is this, is that there are times, guys, and we talk about this in this space, there are times when, if you do what you're supposed to do, if you decide to get into a marriage with a woman and you dot your I's and you cross your T's and you create a prenuptial agreement, and she signs the prenuptial agreement and she signs it, okay, not under duress, she signs it without any precautions, she signs it understanding the terms of the prenup. If you do your due diligence and you enter into this type of arrangement, And in the event that the marriage does not work and someone files for divorce, she files, or you file, you are still protected by the prenuptial agreement. This is very, very, very important, guys. Very, very important. We have heard stories, guys. We have heard stories. Thank you, Golden Child. Thank you, Golden Child. Thank you, Golden Child. We have heard stories for that super chat. We have heard stories, guys, about black men and other men, not just black men, but other men who wrote prenuptial agreements, and their prenuptial agreements were trashed. The courts did not respect those agreements, and those men were devastated. They were devastated by their divorces. They lost, if they did not lose half of their fortune, they lost almost half. Hell, some, depending on the circumstances, lost more than half of their fortune. They had to pay lawyers' fees and everything. And of course, a lot of these cases involve men who are famous, men who are wealthy, men who are high status. But it doesn't matter how high status or wealthy they are, there are still lessons to be learned from those situations, guys. And the lesson is this, guys. The lesson is this, is that we cannot afford, brothers, we cannot afford to take anything for granted. We do not live in an ideal world. The peel, the crimson peel that we talk about is about living in the real world, seeing things for what they are. We see things for what they are. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm one of these people. I'm single. I've never been married. I don't have any kids. And I've said this to you guys. In one of my previous broadcasts, that one of the reasons why I have not married up to this point in my life is because I believe in the permanence of marriage. I believe in it. I believe in the permanence of marriage. I know many people right now, and the lead attorney, he would look at me with a side eye or what have you. I'm not the kind of guy, and you're right, Golden Child, Will Smith and Stephen Curry, we have to watch what's going to happen with those situations right there, which is going to be very interesting. I'm not the guy, bro. I'm not the kind of guy that believes in divorce, guys. I just, it's hard for me to do it. If I marry a woman, here's the thing, guys. If I marry a woman, it's after I have done my due diligence. If I marry a woman, it's after I have vetted her. It is after I have placed her under a microscope. I have examined her from head to toe. I have interrogated her entire family, her family structure, okay? I'm not going to marry no woman randomly. Thank you, Barry Little, for that. That's right. BMI, BME, BMA. Thank you very much for that, Barry Little. If I get married today, and even not just today, but even in the past, my mindset was I'm not going to marry somebody haphazardly, okay? And I'm going to say more to you about this, guys. Here's the thing, guys. I grew up, my parents were never married. I was someone who was born out of wedlock. And my father did not want to marry my mother. And my mother, she had to bite that. She had to take that L. My father did not want to marry my mother. My mother wanted to marry my father. He did not want to marry her. And so what happened is that she ended up having to raise me by herself. Now, the life that I came up in was not ideal. It was a struggle. It was a major, major struggle. And so as a child, as a young man, as a black boy growing up in a single parent household who was taught to respect marriage, because my mother taught me to respect marriage, and I saw marriage in my family, I grew up with the conviction that if I get married, I'm going to marry for keeps. I'm going to marry for good. I came up with the conviction that if I have children, I'm going to have children within the confines of marriage. That's how I grew up, my guys. That is the way. That is the way that I grew up. That's the mentality that I had. And so going into my adulthood, I maintained that mentality. So what did that mean, guys? That meant that I was not going to impregnate. I was going to do everything in my power not to get a woman pregnant outside of marriage. And I was intent, my guys. There was a time where I really wanted to be married. I wanted to be married. And y'all can go to my my community page, and I put a Facebook page. I copied one of my Facebook pages onto my community tab where I said that when I was 25 years old, I thought that I would be married by the age of 40. I thought at the age of 25, when I was 25, I thought that I would be married at the age of 40. When I hit 40, I was not married. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. I went on to say in that same post that this country is very hard on black men who thought that they could do it the old-fashioned way, black men who thought that they could be traditional, black men who wanted to enter into a traditional covenant when it comes down to marriage. This country has made it hard. And I don't have to tell you all how hard this country has made it for all of us, okay? But here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. I'm listening to the lead attorney, my brothers. I am listening to the lead attorney, and the lead attorney, he makes a point. He says this. He says that men today in the 21st century, we're in 2021. We're at the last 2 days of 2021, and we're going into 2022. If you are a man in this time, and you're going into 2022 and beyond, and if you want to have a legacy, that is, if you want to have children, if you want to have this marital relationship, you have to take divorce seriously. You have to take divorce seriously. And what does that mean? Is that you have to prepare for the possibility of a divorce. And what do you do to prepare for the possibility of a divorce? You put in place a prenuptial agreement. Because right now, marriages are not guaranteed to last. Marriages are simply not guaranteed to last. And this is one thing, brothers, I'm going to be honest with you, this is one thing that has been very difficult for me to embrace and to accept. This has been very hard for me, guys, very, very hard. And the reason why it's hard is because I still hold on to some of that old traditional thinking about till death do us part. Till death do us part. I still hold on to some of that stuff. And I don't want to. Here's the thing, guys. I really don't want to get married only to end up in divorce court sometime later. I really don't want to get married to find myself in the place where the marriage is being dissolved, where I have this person who was unhappy. She doesn't want to be involved or what have you. And she decides that she wants to go her own way. Okay? Men, here's the thing. Men are more faithful to the marriage commitment. And when I say faithful, men are more eager to fight this thing out until the end than women. Men are more committed to the traditional idea of marriage than women are. That's just a fact. That is just a fact. And here's the other thing, guys. I don't want to be in a situation where I get married. I'm 48 years old. And let's just say I marry a woman. She's going to be younger now. If I get married right now at the age of 48, she's going to be younger than me. She's going to be younger. I'm not going to marry a woman that's my age. I'm not going to marry a woman who's close to my age. If I get married right now, I'm going to marry a woman who is younger than me, okay? And the reality is that if I'm going to bring children into the world with this person, she has to be of childbearing age. She has to be fertile, okay? And so the thing about marriage is this, guys. If you marry and you're intent on having a legacy, you have to deal with the possibility of bringing children into the world after you're married. You're bringing children into the world after you're married and having children deal with the reality and the pain and the tragedy of divorce. Having children, you have children after you're married, and some point in the relationship, this woman is no longer happy or what have you, and it can be before these children turn 18, and she wants to go her way. And now the children that you have brought into this world are dealing with this divorce. This is not a good, healthy scenario. This is not something that is attractive, guys. This is not something that I find desirable. You understand what I'm saying? I don't find this desirable. And this is in large part why I remain a single man. I remain a childless man, an unmarried man, because the reality is, guys, is that we live in a culture that is anti-marriage. The culture we live in is anti-marriage. Lots of women, these women out here today, these what Kevin Samuels they call them modern women. These women are anti-marriage. These women are anti-family. They are anti-relationship. They are anti. And what I'm seeing is that these women are entering into these relationships for the sole purpose of exploiting men for their resources, extracting resources from men. She's not with you because she loves you. She's not with you because she's concerned about longevity or what have you, or the legacy. She's in it for selfish purposes. And many of us black men, we have been suckers for love. We have been suckers for love. And when you are a sucker for love and you allow yourself to get caught up in a marriage without thinking about the consequences, you will find yourself in a situation where you are devastated, completely devastated by divorce. Now, the other area that I want to deal with, my guys, that's Dr. Dre, is this Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, the Democratic Party. Listen, guys, listen. You guys who've been with me from the beginning, you all know that I came on YouTube. I came on YouTube during the election. I came on YouTube during the election of 2020. Thank you, Savant88. The contest between Donald Trump and Joe Biden last year, the 2020 election. And most of my videos when I came on YouTube were about the election. And I came on YouTube, and this is when I introduced Black Men's Independence. This is when I introduced BMI. My earliest videos are when I introduced BMI because I was highly critical. I was highly critical of the Democratic Party. I was highly critical of Black people's affiliations, allegiance to the Democratic Party. And I really was convinced that Black people needed to do something different. Now, I did not come on YouTube supporting Donald Trump. I'm not a Trump person. I wasn't a Trump person. I'm still not a Trump person. I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. I voted third party. I voted third party in the election. I voted as an independent, okay? And I voted for the Green Party. That's who I voted for. But here is the point. The point is that I knew when I came on YouTube back in September of 2020 that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would not do anything different from Donald Trump. And when I say not do anything different from Donald Trump, I mean that they would not significantly move the needle. They would not do anything that would alter the course of the country. Okay? That is that they were not a viable alternative. They made, as many Democrats and liberals do, they make lots of promises to African Americans. In 2020, they talked about black men, and they talked about black men's empowerment, and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden had this list of efforts that they were going to engage in terms of increasing employment opportunities for black men, entrepreneurial opportunities for black men, that they were going to address mass incarceration, they were going to address health disparities, they were going to address all sorts of things specific to the black male condition. And I knew that it was a bunch of bunk. I knew that it was a bunch of hoo-hooey, because all they were doing is trying to compete with Donald Trump, because Donald Trump had successfully tapped into the black man's vote. He had successfully reached out and got the imagination and the attention of black men voters. He did that. And they were fearful that the number of black men who would vote for Donald Trump in 2020 would significantly increase from the number of black men who voted for Donald Trump in 2016. And what we learned was, yes, they were absolutely right, and there were concerns, because black men ended up voting in higher numbers for Donald Trump in 2020 than they did in 2016. But here's what I want to say. Here's what I want to say, brothers. We have 1 year. We have 1 year, okay, of these people being in office. And what have we witnessed in 1 year of these people being in office? We have witnessed Joe Biden and Kamala Harris being responsive to the immigrants, being responsive, okay, to Latino or what they call Latina immigrants. They have been responsive to Asians. You pass hate crime bills that benefit Asians. They imported, that is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they imported more than 100,000 Afghan people to the United States. They brought them here from Afghanistan after democracy had failed, after the Taliban had virtually kicked them out. The Taliban kicked them out of Afghanistan. The Taliban kicked the United States out of Afghanistan. Now, not only that, the transgender agenda is being dealt with. LGBTQ, everything that they want to, they have entree in the office. Okay, Joe Biden has addressed damn near every demographic that supported him, with the exception of the Afro-American demographic. Black women, the most ardent and the most uncritical supporters of Joe Biden, have come up short. They have come up short. What have Afro-American women received? Black women, in the aftermath of the 2020 election, Black women were given so many accolades. They were given so much praise. Their egos were stroked so much afterwards because they voted for Joe Biden, as they typically vote for Democrats. Joe Biden got 90%, more than 90% of the Black female vote. But here we are, fast forward to the end of 2021, and now Black women are really looking foolishly. They are really looking bad in light of the fact that Joe Biden has not really spoken to this demographic. He has not even dealt with them. So what we're seeing, guys, we are witnessing the collapse of the Democratic Party. And I'm going to say this to you, brothers. You know what? I was real mad after the election. I was mad at Black America. I was mad at Black people after the election. I did not want to talk to any Black people. I did not want to talk to a lot of Black women and what have you, because I just felt that they were, in the words of Malcolm X, they were hoodwinked, they were bamboozled. You understand what I'm saying? I just really felt that kind of way. I was just pissed off for a very long time. But I'm no longer mad. I'm no longer pissed. I'm no longer frustrated and angry. I am jumping around with joy and jubilation. I am jumping around. I am happy. I am excited. And I am happy and I'm excited because what we're watching with this Democratic Party, we're watching democratic failure. We're watching democratic failure. We're watching their inability. Joe Biden, his numbers are low. His popularity numbers are low. Kamala Harris, her numbers are low. The country, she has no support in this country. No one likes her. She is not a popular politician. Thank you, Tim Howard. Kamala Harris right now, if Kamala Harris really has any ambitions of running for the presidency in 2024, she is going to be in she's going to be in for a rude awakening. She is going to have a hard time. She's going to have an uphill climb because very few people on the right and the left and in the center are standing next to her as cheerleaders. She is an unpopular vice president. She has an uphill climb. And what this means is that these people have to prove, that they are competent and capable leaders, able to lead this country, all right, in the face of this pandemic, in the face of an impending recession, in the face of calamity. They have to prove themselves over the next 3 years. And I am of the conviction that they don't have it within themselves to prove that they are better presidential figures than anybody else who would seek to challenge them for the Oval Office. And the way I'm looking at these people, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, is the way in which Jimmy Carter has been viewed. I want y'all to go back. Some of you guys are young. Some of you guys are young. You don't know who Jimmy Carter was or who Jimmy Carter was as an American president. Jimmy Carter is almost damn near 100. He's probably 100 years old right now. But Jimmy Carter was a one-term president. Jimmy Carter is the president who preceded Ronald Reagan. He was a liberal Democrat from Plains, Georgia. He was the governor of Georgia for a time, and he became a U.S. president. And Jimmy Carter became president during a time of financial, economic crisis. And he was the president during a time when there was a lot that was going on in the Middle East. And Jimmy Carter was just a lackluster American president. He was a nice man who had good intentions. He was very Christian, very theological. He's had a great life as a post-president, ex-president, but he only lasted one term. Jimmy Carter was unable to deliver, okay, in his first term to the extent that he would beat Ronald Reagan in 1980. And Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are no different from what happened with Jimmy Carter back at the end of the 1970s, my guys, 1970s. That's it. So I'm celebrating. I'm glad. I want to see the Democratic Party collapse. I want to see it collapse, and I want to see it collapse not because I'm on the right, and I want you guys to understand this clearly. I know there are a lot of guys who are on YouTube, a lot of guys who are in the Black manosphere who are conservatives. There are a good number of guys in the Black manosphere who are Republicans. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a conservative. I don't identify with right-wing politics. I'm not right-wing. I am an independent. I am an independent. I am an independent. Okay. I'm closer to the libertarians than I am to the right, the far right or the center right. That's just not me. And I don't embrace political liberalism as it stands today. I am a liberal in the classical sense. I am a classical liberal. And what that means, the classical liberal is very different from the kind of liberalism that exists today. If you want to know about classical liberalism, I suggest you pick up books by John Stuart Mill. Read John Stuart Mill. Read Jeremy Bentham. Read the 19th century liberals out of the United Kingdom. Read them, okay? That sort of liberalism is not the liberalism of today, okay? But anyway, thank you, Brandon Penn. Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. So I got my popcorn. I'm having a good time watching these Democrats implode, okay? And it's going to be interesting to see who's going to run in the next election. I'm going to put some names out here. I do think that there are two people who you need to be looking at on the Republican side who might be put out there as candidates. I do think that Ron DeSantis, in Florida, the governor of Florida, I do think that this guy, he might try to run for the presidency, the U.S. presidency in 2024. I also think that the now governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, I also think that he might attempt to run for the presidency in 2024. So Ron DeSantis in Florida, the Republican, and Brian Kemp, the Georgia governor, I think that these guys might run for the presidency in 2024. And so this is going to be an interesting election. So we here, those of us, thank you, Brandon Penn, we do BMI, BME, BMA, and BMH. We watch what's going on and we prepare Black men for the future. Now, I need to get to the other topic, and this was the final topic that I really wanted to get at, the final topic in this random stream. And for those of you guys, y'all hit the like button, y'all share, you all subscribe. If you like this content, if this content brings value to you, you can support it. You can support it through Super Chat, Super Sticker. You can support it with the Cash App. Cash App, $BMI 3000, Cash App, $BMI 3000, PayPal, Ronald B. Neal, PayPal, Ronald B. Neal. You can support it. You guys know I've been doing this thing guerrilla style. I've been doing this thing minimalist style. I don't have, and you all know this, guys. Right now, a lot of brothers, they have a lot of special effects. They have a lot of George Lucas effects, Star Wars effects, Matrix effects, and that stuff. I've taken my time with that. I've been doing this thing guerrilla style right here. You can call it struggle streaming. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but that's my modus operandi for right now. Okay, so you all just hold on tight as we develop and go into 2022, and we explore new technologies and the like. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is women in the Black manosphere. Women in the Black manosphere. Listen, guys, listen. I talked about this early this fall. I talked about women entering into the spaces of Black men and women giving their input on Black men's issues. I talked about this not too long ago on one of my videos, one of my live streams. And this is something that we have to talk about over and over again because it's not going away. It is not going away. Listen, guys, the presence of women in our space says one thing. It says that the Black manosphere is succeeding. It says that the Black manosphere is on the rise. It says that the Black manosphere is here. The fact that you have women who want to come into our spaces, who go to channels, who subscribe to content creators, who want to put their input on conversations that center on Black men. That says that we are succeeding. Thank you, Tim Howard. Thank you, Tim Howard. Thank you for that, my brother. Thank you for that. That says that we are succeeding. It's saying that the dominant narrative, and that is the gynocentric narrative, the gynocentric narrative that we are accustomed to, that says that Black men are trash, the gynocentric narrative that says that Black men ain't ish, the gynocentric narrative that say that Black men are dogs and that Black men are monsters, that Black men are wicked and evil, that gynocentric narrative has been effectively challenged by the Black manosphere. That narrative is weak. That narrative is fragile. That narrative is struggling to remain sustainable. It is struggling to remain sustainable. And if you guys are very aware and you're watching, I just want you to watch the algorithm, and I want you to watch all of these new channels, that are popping up, where you have men creating content, and they have women coming into their platforms, and they're having these conversations, and they're talking with women and what have you about issues pertaining to Black men. And I'm going to say, at one level, it's good. It's a good sign that we are succeeding. But it is also something that we should be concerned about, and it's something that we need to monitor. We need to monitor. And the reason why we need to monitor this, guys, is because we as Black men, for the last at least 50 years, we have had to deal with the perspectives of women. I'm going to echo this over and over again. Once you came into the world, you had to deal with the perspective of a woman, namely your mother. When you grew up, you had to deal with the perspective of a woman, your mother. If it wasn't your mother, you had to deal with your aunt. If it wasn't your aunt, you had to deal with an older sister or an older cousin. You have to deal with some type of female, some type of woman. We grow up in a gynocentric condition where we are inundated for most of our formative years with the voices of women. So it is not like we never hear their voices. It is not like we don't know what women think about Black men. We know this. We know this. Now we have that. Now what happens is that the voices of women that we hear in our formative years is then amplified by feminism. It is amplified by women who have the support of the state, by women who have the support of corporate America, by women who have the support of the media. They have the movies, they have the books, they have the novels, they have the poems, they have the plays, they have the Broadway stage productions, they have all these things. They have Insecure. They have all these mediums to disseminate everything that they think about men, Black men in particular. And so what happens, brothers, what happens, guys, what happens is that when they come into our spaces, they bring that same energy. They bring that same energy. And it's so deep. Here's the thing, guys, is that The women are so conditioned, they are so accustomed to having their perspectives prioritized. They are so socialized to think that everything that they say is infallible, that everything that they say is the word of God. They are so accustomed to that stuff that they think it is normal. They think it is normal for them to walk into your house. And I want you guys to think about this. Have you ever had a woman, you invite a woman to your house, you invite a woman to your apartment, you invite a woman into your condo, you invite a woman into your private space. And when you invite her into your private space, she has 1,001 things to say about your private space. She has something to say about the decor. She has something to say about the curtains or your lack of curtains. She has something to say about how you have your furniture arranged. She has something to say about your bathroom. She has something to say about your living room. She has something to say about every aspect of your personal space. She has something to say about everything. I don't know about you guys, but I have had that in my 48 years of living. What's up, Dr. J? I see you. I see you, Dr. J. Good to see you in the house. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. In my 48 years of living, I've had to deal with that. I invite you into my space and you want to tell me what I need to do to improve my space. As a matter of fact, you want to tell me, here's the deal. You have the audacity to tell me this. He said, listen, you need to make your space woman friendly. If you want women to stay here, if you want women to feel at home, if you want women to feel some type of hospitality, you need to rearrange the furniture. You need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G in order to accommodate the woman. And this, guys, my guys, is what we deal with as Black men, okay? You cannot have a space which is all your own. You cannot have a man cave. You cannot have a man cave that is designed, that is organized, that is arranged, situated in the way in which you desire it. Okay? All right? All right? You cannot have that independently. And this is the problem that we have when some women come into the space. When some of these women come into the space, they want to rearrange the furniture. They want to tell you what to do with your own space. It's a problem. It's a problem, brothers. Okay? So this is one of the problems that you have with women coming into the space. In addition to this, guys, here's the thing. If you listen to her, if she gets into your head, if you accommodate her, what happens is that you begin to censor yourself. You begin to censor yourself. You begin to tone down. You begin to bite your tongue. You begin to walk on eggshells. You begin to modify everything once she is inside of your space, okay? You change the entire direction of the conversation, of what you're talking about. That's the thing. That's the thing. And this is not healthy. This is not healthy. This is the first time. Here's the thing with the Black manosphere and the internet. This is the first thing. This is the first time, especially in this technological environment that we live in this technological environment that we live in, this digital world. This is the first time that Black men have a voice that is unmuted. We have an unmuted voice. And it's important that we accent this unmuted voice. That is this voice that does not have to contend, okay, with the female censor whose presence demands that you modify everything that you say. We have to be able to say things about our lives, to say things about where we're going and our aspirations, our dreams, our hopes, our goals, our happiness, our efforts to make money, our efforts to have personal space, our efforts to circumnavigate the court system, the family court system, the criminal court system, all sorts of legal systems. We have to have the space, my brothers, to do that without their influence. So this is why I say that we have to be very careful about this situation. Now, here's the other thing that I want to say about women in the spaces. Women in the Black manosphere. Here's the other thing I want to say about women in the Black manosphere. Number one, there is a group of women who are in the Black manosphere, or I would just say this, there are a group of women who are using the talking points of Black men in the Black manosphere for their channels. They've created channels. I'm going to put their names out there. So you have Chantel Simone, you have Danica Marie, you have Jessica X, and you have some new people out there. There's a new person out there. Her name is Melanie King. You have her. And there might be some other people that I'm not naming at this particular moment. And these women, they are very affirmative. They affirm men's interest. They affirm what's happening with men. They affirm the male perspective. I don't really have any issues with them. I watch some of their content. They affirm their male perspective. And one thing that I've noticed about these content creators is that much of the audience that they get is male. They get male viewers, male listeners. They have male supporters. When you look in the comment sections, most of the people who are in the chat rooms, they're men. They're men who are commenting in the chat room. And I suspect that the bulk of their subscriber base, so if you look at Jessica X, I suspect that the bulk of her subscriber base is male. Now, they might have women trolling them. They might have women coming in and commenting on them. But women are not the ones who are primarily supporting their channels. They're not the ones. And that's something to think about. That is something to think about. And why do you think about that? Because you have to ask yourself, well, okay, you have these women who are in here and they're using these talking points from the Black male perspective or from the man perspective, but they're talking primarily to men. They're talking to men. And they're giving them ideas and concepts that they can get from some other men, okay? So my question is, well, how effective are these women? What are these women doing? How far is their reach? If they're only talking to men. And I'm going to say this, I don't have a real problem with them in the space or what have you, but I do have a question about how far their reach is. I do have a question about where their influence goes, because women are not the ones who are supporting them. They are not being supported primarily or fundamentally by women. So the question is that what are the purposes that do they serve within the context of our space? What purpose do they serve? I don't know if you guys have any ideas, if you guys have any thoughts about that, y'all put that in the chat. Y'all put it in the chat. What purpose are they serving us? How do they contribute? How do they contribute to our space, our spaces, the Black manosphere? Now, you have another entity that exists within the Black manosphere. You have another entity. And I'm just going to name some, I'm going to put some words out here. The breakdown. A lot of guys, you have the breakdown, you have Sister George, and you have Concrete Rose. And I've watched their streams, and I've noticed that whenever a list, a Black manosphere list is created, it is made public. We have a whole bunch of channels that are on the Black manosphere list of content creators. That is, we have creators who are explicitly dealing with Black male content. And they're categorized as the Black manosphere. And I am trying to understand why and how the breakdown is considered a part of the Black manosphere. I don't know why they are a part of the Black manosphere. And the reason why I say that is because the talking points that you find in the breakdown are not pro-male. They are not exclusively pro-male. That there are feminist talking points that are spewed from the breakdown. That the breakdown, it vacillates. I don't see how it is a Black manosphere channel. I don't see it. I think that Concrete Rose and Sister George are interesting personalities. I don't think that they're misanders. I don't think that they hate Black men. But I don't see how they contribute to the Black manosphere in any positive way. I don't see how they are significantly advancing what we do here. I'm putting it like this. I promote Black men's independence on this page, on this channel. I promote Black men's agency. I promote Black men's empowerment. I promote Black men's happiness. All those things that I have named, those acronyms represent the litmus test for what it means to deal with Black men's interests. I don't see how the breakdown deals with BMI. I don't see how the breakdown deals with BMA. I don't see how it deals with BME. I don't see how it deals with BMH. All I see, there are two Black women who are reacting to what we're saying, to what Black men are saying. And the conclusions that they make many times have nothing to do with Black men's interest, not in the affirmative. But they have a lot of Black men. A lot of Black men follow their channel. A lot of Black men follow them. A lot of Black men support them with donations. A lot of Black men are there, okay? And here's the thing, guys. This is the issue. And this is not about them, but this is about us as Black men, You have to, Black men have to decide, who is going to be your representative. You have to decide who speaks for you. You have to decide which content affirms your interest. And what I see, and again, this is not a slight on them, what I see is a distraction. I see a distraction. I see. So you can have some women who come into the manosphere and they talk manosphere points, not all of them, and they get black men listening to them, and they pull black men up and they have panels. But what happens is that at the end of the day, what you have is a distraction. What you have is a distraction from black male interests. You have a distraction from black male concerns. And so this is my concern about women in the black manosphere, women in our sphere, is that women become distractions. They become distractions from the stuff that we have to focus in on. They become a distraction from the happiness of black men. They become a distraction from black male empowerment, a distraction from black male agency, and a distraction from black male independence. These are distractions. Let me tell you something about feminists. Let me tell you something about feminism. You have a group of feminists who call themselves radical feminists. You have a group of feminists who've been around for a very, 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 very long time. And the radical feminists are probably the most influential of and among feminists. And who are the radical feminists? The radical feminists are those who are clear about their concerns with female issues. Female issues. You had people like Andrea Dworkin. You had people like Mary Daly. These are white women. You had women like Catherine McKinnon. She was a lawyer. Mary Daly was a philosopher and theologian. Andrea Dworkin was a writer. They did not want men. Here's the thing. The radical feminists did not want men to interfere with the stuff that they were doing with women. They did not want men to be involved in any deep and influential way in how they were shaping the thought and lives of the women that they were trying to reach. That was the radical feminist. They were exclusionary. They were exclusionary. They didn't care about reaching out to men. They didn't care about talking to men. Those are the radical feminists. And those radical feminists are responsible for the gynocracy. They're responsible for how the gynocracy works today. Those radical feminists, the ones they came along, especially during the 1970s and the 1980s, those radical feminists, they ultimately influenced what we know now today as intersectionality. They influenced Black girl magic. They influenced the entire gynocracy. Black women don't care as a group. Black women as a group see themselves as separate from Black men. They see themselves as a separate political entity from Black men. They are not a part of Black men. And the sensibilities that Black women have in terms of politics, when she does politics exclusively for Black women and Black girls, if you see Michelle Obama talking about women and girls, you are talking about people who have a perspective that has been influenced by radical feminism. And why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? It's because the women have already excluded you. The women have already excluded you. The Black women have already excluded you. They have already eliminated you from the conversation. You are not an entity to them. That's why so many are so misandrous. That's why you have some who are so hateful towards Black men. And what does that mean? What does that mean? That means that you black men, we black men, those of us in the space, we are under no obligation, brothers. We are under no obligation to engage in diversity and inclusion. We are under no obligation. Now, I don't knock the other brothers who have the platforms. I don't knock the Peef Network. I don't knock Kevin Samuels. I don't knock any other people, any other content creator or content creators who have women on their platforms who want to have these conversations with women. But I want you all to know that there's still a need, a demand for black men to talk amongst themselves about black men's issues. And that black men don't need to feel guilted into engaging into inclusion and diversity politics. And that black men we don't need to fear that in order to get bigger, in order to get stronger, that you have to go in this direction. And I want to make it clear that I'm not against, I named some of those other women who have the platforms, who have primarily male audiences. You have your Jessica X, Danica Marie, all right, Chantel Simone, and the newer person, Melanie King. You know, much power to them. Their audience is primarily male. What I see, again, mostly men watch their channels because they're pretty, they look good. And let's just be honest, guys are watching them because they look good, because these women are pretty, they're attractive. That's why they're watching them. But what I'm saying to you guys is that as we go into 2022, we still have to maintain the integrity. We still have to maintain faithfulness to those particular things that address black men in particular. So again, I was watching the lead attorney this morning, his live stream from yesterday on Dr. Dre and his divorce. And you're talking about marriage and divorce. And here's the thing, brothers, if there is an institution in this country where black men find themselves at a disadvantage, if there is an institution or a phenomenon where a black male perspective is important, where a black male perspective cannot be compromised, it is the institution of marriage. That you cannot be a gynocrat if you're going to get married. You cannot be a gynocrat if you're going to have children. And that you cannot walk into an institution like that being overly concerned about the other party and not being concerned about your outcomes, not being concerned about true equity. Because the fact of the matter is that from what we already know about the institution of marriage is that women do not care. They don't care about equity when it comes down to marriage. Women don't care about equality when it comes down to marriage. They don't care about that. Women don't care about equity or equality when it comes down to the institution of the family. They don't care. They want to be on top. They want to be superior. They want to be the winners. And what does that mean? That means that there are issues like marriage that demand an unfiltered and uncensored, unadulterated perspective from the standpoint of black men's interests and experience. And you don't have to go back and forth having these conversations with women about marriage and divorce and all of that. You need to know the law. You need to know what the consequences are of making bad decisions in that arena. And the fact of the matter is, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Those women who I mentioned before, and I wish them the best. I wish them the best. Danica Marie, Chantel Simone, Melanie King, Jessica X. Those women are not going to change the minds of women at large. They're not going to change the minds of Black women in particular. They're not going to do that. Women who speak these talking points. And somebody mentioned I'm looking for it. Barry Little mentioned Crimson Cure. And Kendra is out there. I know Kendra is out there. And she's doing phenomenal work. She's doing phenomenal work. But a lot of these women are far gone. They're too far gone. They're too far gone. I don't know if you guys have seen Kevin Samuels' most recent uploads. If you guys have not seen Kevin Samuels' most recent uploads where he's in Miami and he's having these he has these edited 15-minute conversations with women about marriage, young women. These are women who are under the age. These are women who are under the age of 30. Kevin Samuels is having a conversation with these young women. And all of their delusions come out. Thank you, Go Saints 2345. Thank you for that support, my brother. Thank you for that support. Y'all hit the like. Y'all hit the like, share, subscribe. These are just random thoughts, guys. I came on here today because I had a lot of stuff on my mind, and I wanted to get this stuff out into the airwaves. We're ending the year. We are ending the year, brothers. We're ending the year. We're ending 2021, and we're going into 2022. Thank you, my brother. We have to move forward, guys. So what does that mean? I'm not holding my breath. I'm not sitting around holding my breath waiting for a whole bunch of women to get on board. Because here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. When I look at feminism, I look at womanism over the last 50 years. And when I meet a woman who is my age, I'm 48. And I mean a woman who is she's just had this revelation. So this new content creator, Melanie King, some of y'all have seen her. She's a very pretty woman. She's very pretty. And Melanie King, she's 40 something. I know she's in her 40s. And she's divorced and she's got kids. And she's making these pro-male videos, these crimson videos. And to her own admission, she had some epiphany. She had some awakening. So you have a 40-year-old woman who has some awakening after watching Kevin Samuels. I want y'all to think about that. You got a woman who's in her 40s and she's just had this awakening. She's divorced. She just got a divorce, or she's recently divorced. And after watching Kevin Samuels, she went to some type of conversion experience or what have you. And now she's championing interests that affirm men. And it's good and it's nice, and you'll meet women like that. But I'm like, where were you when you were 25 years old? Where were you when you were 35? Where were you when you were 20? So what am I saying, guys? What am I saying is that feminism has had 50 years to correct its excesses. We are dealing with the excesses right now. The manosphere largely exists because we are responding to, the Black manosphere is responding to the excesses of American/Western feminism. We are responding to the excesses of feminism. And many feminists have known for more than a decade now, even before the rise of the Black manosphere, many feminists have known for more than a decade that feminism went off the rails. Many of them know. There are feminists who have known since the early 2000s. They've known since the early 2000s that feminism has been excessive. It has been extreme. So extreme that it has contributed to the decimation of family structures in the United States. It has contributed to the dismantling of male authority in families. And they've known that. It's contributed to child alienation, children alienated from their fathers. It has contributed to bad policies, bad welfare policies, bad criminal justice policies. They've known this. But despite knowing this, they did nothing to correct. They did nothing to go public and say, listen, we've gone too far with this. We've gone too far with it. They've done nothing to, they've stood by in silence and have watched the excesses worsen over time. So they had time to correct themselves, yet they chose not to. And now we're here responding to those excesses, and we're doing that in a very creative way. And we're moving the needle. People are listening, people are responding. And you have a new crop of people who are coming in. You have women who are coming in who are doing what we're doing. And this, my guys, is what we are dealing with. So what I'm saying, guys, is that when it comes down to women in the spaces, these women in these spaces, you have to have both eyes open. You have to have both eyes open. And you guys don't get caught up. It's easy to get caught up because some of these women are very attractive. Some of these women are very attractive. They look good. And they flaunt their sex appeal. She got her breasts. She's up there, she in the YouTube video and she's showing you them boobies, man. You can see her tatas. She wants you to see them tatas. And she got the makeup on, and I understand she wants to be well presented and everything like that. And this is what David, and this is why I went back to David Carroll. You know, David Carroll was always critical of this stuff. That all a woman has to do is to show her tatas. That's all she got to do. All she got to do is show them tatas. All she got to do is smile and have that makeup on. All she got to do is look sexy. And you know, Danica, she is a very attractive young woman. She's a married woman. I have no real problems with her, nothing like that. But a lot of guys are watching her because she looks good. She doesn't have bad content, but she looked good. If Danica Marie looked like Lizzo, if Danica Marie looked like Dr. Brittany Cooper, if Danica Marie looked like Gabby Sidibe, wouldn't nobody pay any attention. Especially if she cammed up. So what am I saying, brothers? I'm saying, guys, is that we have to be vigilant. We got to protect our space. Black men, this is the first time that we have had an unmuted voice. I want you to understand this, guys. This is the first time that we've had an unmuted voice. That is, to have an uncensored voice. And there are a lot of people who are not accustomed to this voice. There are white people who are not accustomed to this unmuted, uncensored voice. Most black people are not used to it. We haven't had this type of forthright male expression since Malcolm X. We have not had this type of direct male communication since Malcolm X. And most black people are not used to it. The black Christians, they're not used to it. Black women are not used to black men telling them what their preferences are. Black women are not used to black men telling them what irks them about the behavior of black women. They're not used to it. Black women are not used to us telling them what we don't like about certain aspects of their behavior. They're not used to us telling them what we don't like about how they treat us in certain kinds of ways. They're not used to it. It's almost like talking back to your mama. It's like talking back to your mama. Your mama says something foul to you. Your mama says something disrespectful to you. And what do? You retort. You come back and you check your mama. Yeah, she's your mama, but you check your mama. Your mama disrespected you and you tell your mama, no, you're not going to disrespect me. Yeah, I know I'm your son, but I'm a human being. I'm a grown man. You're not going to disrespect me. You check your mama. And we're not used to that. Black people are not used to that. Black men and black women are not used to that. And that's what we're doing in the black manosphere. Because remember, the queen is supposed to have the last word. The queen is infallible. That means that everything that the queen says is correct. The queen is never wrong. The queen is never wrong. So what does it mean when you question the queen? What does it mean when you tell the queen what you really think and how you really feel? And remember, the queen has been empowered by the empire. That's the big thing. Remember, the queen has been empowered by the empire. The queen is only the queen because she's connected to a greater empire, the American empire. And the American empire has used the queen to keep you in place. This is why this is so significant, brothers. Here's the thing, that white America uses black women to keep black men in place. This is why there is so much tumult. This is why there is so much reaction to the black manosphere and to what we're doing, what we're saying. Because white America uses black women to control black men. And when we talk to black women forthrightly, we're also talking to white America forthrightly. So we are in a new place, guys. This is a new place. And we have to remain unmuted as black men. We have to remain unmuted. We have to remain uncensored and maintain the integrity of our space. And I tell the women, I say, yes, I have no problem. You can listen in, listen. Y'all listen. We've been listening to y'all since the time we jumped out the womb. We listen to black women from the very time we jump out of their vaginas. From the time we jump out of her vagina until the time we go into the grave, we have to listen to black women. So we're saying, listen, what we're saying to them, it's your time to listen. It's your time to listen. It's your time. But listen. I came here this afternoon to talk about this stuff. These were just some scattered thoughts. These were scattered thoughts that I had in my head. And I didn't want to put them in a whole bunch of small, short videos. I just wanted to put them out here in this live stream. Because we're going into 2022. We are heading into a brand new year, and our space is growing. It's becoming more influential, and it's more imperative than ever that we protect our space and what we're doing. I'm excited about the New Year's and what lies in front of us. There's so much that is happening. I want all you all to think about the year, and I want you all to enter into 2022 as the best versions of yourselves. 2021 is behind us. Whatever we couldn't accomplish or we didn't accomplish then, so be it. We have to do more as we go forward. I appreciate all of you all for being with me this afternoon. This is the first time that I've done this type of live stream in the afternoon here. You all share, like, and subscribe, and you all know how you all can support this channel. I'm happy that we are having this conversation together, and we're gonna do much more of this. So I'm gonna sign off, folks. I'm losing my voice right about now. I need some water. So you all take care. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will see you the next time around. Peace and blessings to all of you. Take care.